So what is the difference between family constellations and systemic work?
Systemic work is the theory behind the family constellations. Family constellations is the effectiveness, the modality. So we use that, the representation is a family constellation, which comes from the German word Familienstellen, order in the family. Systemic work is the theory behind family constellations. So you will look at the life of the individual from their system of belonging, systemically. Somebody comes to me and say, Tizi, I am addicted to alcohol, drug, and cigarettes, and I'm gonna tell them, beautiful, systemically, that is an interrupted movement with your gorgeous father. Okay, so that is systemic work.
Mm-hmm. So let's say, for instance, I have never known my father. So when I was like doing inner child work and getting questions, your father, your relationship with a father, it was just a blank spot, empty. I don't know. If I would go to constellations to work on that, like on a energetic level, or like what are the dynamics that are happening there? Is it recycling of information? What is happening there on the field?
So first and foremost, to make your listener and everybody understand what we tapping into it, is the morphogenetic field is a field of information. To go more on a very plain talking, is a loop of memories. So we tap into a loop of memories. Which memories your body is carrying about the relationship between you and your father. In that specific case, Igor, what I would look at is what is your situation emotionally, physically, where your father stands in the field. He stands close to you. He lie down because he's dead. He stands behind your mother and your mother doesn't give access to him. So basically, I look at the dynamic, the relationship, because love experience itself through relationship that you and your father have. Mm-hmm. How do I make a change? I make a change by allow love to flow again. That is what we call an interrupted movement. So if there has been an interruption between you and your father because your father died when you were 3 years old, what is the role of the observer is allow love to flow between your beautiful father and yourself, so you can get the imprinting of the father figure within your morphogenetic imprinting. How do I do that, Igor? Through phrases, through movement. Father, I've missed you. Father, I'm angry because you left me. And as soon as I stated the right phrase, it clicked. What it clicked? It clicked the emotion. I release the emotion that creates the interruption. Generally, this is sadness. Above sadness, the second level emotion is anger. Anger is good, Igor. Allows you to move forward from that sadness, that stuck state, okay? If the sadness and the anger were too wide, particularly the anger, the third level emotion is pride. Father, I don't come back to you because you are an idiot and this and that. Pride takes many forms: frustration, hatred, judgment. Father, you are an idiot. Father, you are this. Father, you are wrong. What is my role as an observer? I'm going to be concentrated within myself, allow inner guidance. What is inner guidance? Inner guidance is the morphogenetic intelligence that gives me the tools, makes me a vessel to allow love to flow again. Yeah. So when I state the right phrase, the reconnection happened between Igor, Farah, and Igor. And that is how I perform a family constellation. Thank you, brother.
That was really awesome.
You honor me.
That was really awesome.
You, brother.
When you said imprinting, what does that mean, imprinting?
That is another very intelligent question. So quantum physics acknowledges us that we are energetic being by 99.9% and 99999. What does it mean? It means that the physicality is like an hologram. It's the soul experiencing itself through the body. So my imprinting, my code is energetic. I'm going to give you a very quick example which will make everybody understand. That's what I do in my workshop. I like to make example. Look at a computer. There is a code behind the program. So if I open window, I see colors, I see script, I see this and that functionality, but behind that there is a code. The code is generating, when there are coders coding, the code is generating the image. The same thing is for the imprinting. The imprinting, the code generates the image. The code doesn't only work on energetic level, because we recently became aware that hypogenetics, the University of Queensland acknowledges us that we don't only carry the code on energetic level, we carry the code on a physical level. So the imprinting of our family members, system of belonging, is in our cell, is in our blood, is in our tissue, is in our fascia. So it's not only carry on energetic level, it's physical. I manifest the same symptom as my great-grandmother. Why? Because physically, that separation is experiencing in my family through that symptom. The same things I do it myself, because when I separate from my beautiful cat or my beautiful husband or my beautiful wife, I dealt with that separation through dermatitis.
Wow.
So myself as a grandson, I experience what? Dermatitis, of course. My body is ready. My body is ready to face that separation. He knows, he carries the intelligence. And hypogenetic acknowledges that. Not only quantum physics now, it's no more woo-woo spiritual in the bush with the shamans. It's very first mainstream now, Netflix stuff.
You know, when you were explaining that, I felt so pumped. I want to do family constellations.
Good.
Like really?
I'm glad.
That's
Brother.
really nice.
I'm glad.
So, what is the difference between love and hate?
Oh, they are the same things. They are. What is hate? Hate is a love who can't make it. So Tiziano and Igor connect to each other, and the friendship flow, the love flow. At a certain point, Igor brings his system of belonging in, and he has a belief that turns on the opposite side, that Tiziano family system belief. So Tiziano and Igor can no longer connect. The flow of love, light doesn't flow between them. And obviously, if the love was a lot between Tiziano and Igor, there would be a lot of hate, because love cannot make it to the same extent that it could make. So there will be a lot of sadness between this interruption. Of course, above sadness, again, anger, because Tiziano and Igor need to move their own way, otherwise they stay stuck in that heaviness. And then the third level emotion will be pride, and pride will become, the longer pride stays there, and the greater the hatred between each others.
Wow. Thank you so much for explaining that. You bring it, down from here to really like, okay, that's really beautiful.
Thank you, brother.
Something else. Do you know, when you have conversations with people, you spend time with people, why is it that sometimes after spending time with some people, you feel drained and with others not?
As I said before, Igor, we are an energetic being. So we are vibing at a certain frequency. So I might vibe at 815 Hz, and you might vibe at 845 Hz. Beautiful. We meet each other. We are lightful. We go and have a coffee. We can talk for 3-4 hours and this and that. However, it might be that you don't vibe at 815 Hz and you're vibing at 413. So when I sit with you, I feel this heaviness. And when I feel this heaviness, I don't want to sit with you. I already perceive that we are at two different vibing frequency. But because of social conduct, I'm so stupid that I still stay there, and I let my beautiful 815 drop down to 500, 600. But in the meantime, I elevate you as well. Because, of course, we become a mixture of the both. So you feel a little bit more elevated, perhaps with a little bit more guilt, and I feel a little bit more angry and drained. So I'm the one giving, so I perceive a little bit of anger. You are the one taking, you perceive a little bit of guilt. after this interaction, I want to run away, and fuck, you want to run away even more. So the best things would be, again, I feel my body, this conversation is not flowing. So you know what? Beautiful Igor, I gotta go to the gym, we catch up another day, no problem. But if I maintain alive that relationship between the 405 HZ, 815, every time I see you is a burden, okay? I have my shoulder burdened with a truck.
Yeah. Wow. It makes me think of another thing that happened recently. I hope you don't mind that I bring this up, but
please,
I was with. Thank you. I was with this new woman that I'm dating, and we're spending time together, like really like close, intimate, and she's having things that come up, and she's saying to me, I feel so exposed, and I feel like I'm fighting to be here because the pain is coming up. And she said to me afterwards, I feel drained because it's coming up, and then when I leave you, I'm like, okay, now the pain is not going to come up anymore, and I can just relax. And then I was like, why did this happen? Like, I don't want to make her feel drained. And I was thinking, like, did I do something wrong? Am I doing something unconsciously? Blah, 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 blah. So I was like a bit puzzled.
This is again, Igor, when a person comes to a meeting and they pretend to be. They don't be, but they pretend to be. So they are yellow, but they perform to be blue. So their encounters and their life experience is draining constantly because they actor and actresses. This is also happening when there is a little bit of discordance, I would call it disorder in the relationship. Mm-hmm. If you father her a little bit, or you being a therapist to her, that she doesn't feel that she can be 100% herself, and at the same time, you probably feel empowered by the fact that you're giving her this father experience and therapist. But after a little while, you're gonna be like, "Oh, the fuck I'm with. She's not my daughter, and as well as my client." Mm-hmm. There is a little bit of disorder into the experience, and also you will come to a point that you giving, you will be drained, you will be angry, and she compensates this over-giving that you are doing towards her by bringing order. How she will bring order? She will compensate by cheating most of the time. She will find an equal to her to tell you, hey, I need an equal. I'm not a father. I don't need a father. She will. The relationship will face consequences. Yeah. When there is disorder in the long run, the relationship always faces consequences.
Interesting. She said to me, you're giving me like 95 and I'm only giving you 30, 40. And she feels guilty or bad for not giving me more. I was like, So I should do a family constellation about something like this, probably.
I would observe in this case from you personally a beautiful family constellation towards your gorgeous mother, which if I observe from a systemic point of view, it could be that you feel a little bit guilty towards her. You have given to her like a parent or like a husband. Perhaps she suffered, you have seen her suffer. So from that point you said, unconsciously you say something like, mother, if you die, I will die too. So in order for you to survive, I will give it to you. So we call this parentification in family constellations. We become parents of our parents because we are afraid to lose them, particularly the mother. So children make those unconscious promises, Igor, like, mother, I'm gonna give it to you. So when you will be okay, you will be able to give me back. But that will never happen, okay? That promise is still alive, and we keep giving to our parents as parents. This is what systemically we call parentification.
Wow. Thank you so much.
And we sabotage money, we sabotage relationship, we sabotage success, everything that the mother archetype is reflecting within us and into the morphogenetic field.
I almost hesitate to ask this, but How many sessions would I have to do to be clear with my mother?
So we do need every single movement, Igor, is reflected in one single session. So it is one single movement. I always say in my website there is clearly written, family constellation are not a talking therapy, are way more effective than that. They change the morphogenetic imprinting. So once we allow love to flow again, we don't need to do it anymore. So once we restate a relationship, that relationship flows. Although we might have experienced many different interrupted movements with the same person. So we might have to deal with different interrupted movements, but over a long period of time, the soul moves very slow. We cannot do 10 family constellation in 3 weeks. It doesn't work. The soul doesn't allow that. And the guidance of the observer doesn't come. This is when, Igor, you're reflecting, you differentiate a good observer, an observer that is in tune with the field, and an average observer, or perhaps someone who doesn't really know what they do because they generate everything from the mind. And that doesn't make any shift. People do 200 family constellations, then they come and they still have the first interrupted movement at birth. And I always say, well, you might have made 3 million family constellations, but not really energetically. You made them through your mind. You build up a case scenario, how I call it.
Is it possible to do a training with you?
I don't do at the moment in-person training because I'm traveling a lot. You probably see on Instagram. My goal at the moment is to empower people, to give as much as I can of family constellation. So I do live event worldwide. And that is what I consider my form of training because I learn by embodying. Although I have created the online systemic library where I give monthly workshop of an hour on different systemic topic, and they are all recorded. There are already hundreds of hours that you can learn from, observe, exercises. So yes, you can learn from me online, and in person I do events worldwide. So please join me. I am in Europe in a month and a half, and I travel all around Europe with workshops.
Okay, maybe I will. Thank you very much.
We'll be honored to have you in, brother.
Yeah, I would love to come. Thank you. So for people who read a lot of books or watch things or even watch your content, like on some level, people learn to pattern recognize, right? They understand what's happening and they recognize it and they have awareness. But does it go beyond that, or is it only that?
There is a go beyond that. And the go beyond that is feel the call. If I feel to contact Igor, what does that mean? It means that Igor has something for me. Love flew through his morphogenetic imprinting, where in my morphogenetic imprinting is still blocked. So if I engage in a session with Igor, because Igor has something for me. So what I always say is, guys, don't worry about making an investment of 100, 200, 300 bucks, because when someone has something for you, that investment, it comes back to you 10 times. So when I feel someone has something for me, even if I don't know them, I have no idea who they are, I book right away. I can read the Bible of Systemic Therapy, which is this beautiful book, Love, Hidden Symmetry. I can read it 10 times, but it won't make any difference if I don't embody what is written within. So in order for me to embody what is written within, I need to go to somebody who has embodied, and he can transfer me that energy through a family constellation, through a Reiki, to a breath work, whatever that is. But the exchange will be obviously monetary, financially, because that's how money is the most spiritual tool of exchange in existence, is how love, exchange, and maintain balance. So we give some money, we get something back, we are both of us very happy.
Interesting. That was epic. That was epic.
Thank you, brother.
So, there are people who do like healing work. They put themselves in the position to support people. And what's like the difference when people ask money for their services and people who work by donations or do it for free?
People work by donation and do it for free. They break the first most important law of existence, giving and taking. The universe is maintaining balance in perfection because there is an exchange in place. So I give one and I receive two. Out of that two, I feel a guilt compensation pressure in my body to give back three. And then I will receive 4, 5, and 6. And this is how the universe build up relationship. As well as in good, equal is in evil. So relationship are maintaining balance out by giving and taking. If someone is giving without taking, they break the first energetic law of existence. Balance, order. So they get out of order and they cannot do it. In fact, people who are giving without taking, they will perceive something, an emotion called anger, because the universe is telling them, hey mate, you are giving too much and you put the universe off balance. So that anger will stop them of giving, so they can gain back and bring the universe back in balance. Generally speaking, people who they are giving for free, they are unable to face guilt. The guilt of receiving, and this is most probably because they have not received from their mother. Their mother is their first experience of, I'm taking from my mother, I can take from everybody else. If I don't take from my mother, my energetic imprinting is blocked and I cannot take from anybody else. So they will feel this pressure, this guilt, oh, I cannot ask, because they cannot take from their mother. But once they are able to face that pressure, that guilt, and ask, they will feel a lot better. And the other part will feel better too, because when we are giving something for free, what we are doing is we are saying to the other person, it's better you pay guilt rather than me. So we don't doing a service to the other person, we're doing a disservice. Guess why? Because that person will never come back to us. They will feel so guilty that they will not come to ask something from us again. Order, order. We live in a field of existence that is created in everything rather than chaos, like Newton taught us. In this universe, there's everything rather than chaos. It's the most, it's the tool most in order in existence. Everything is maintained perfectly in order. There's nothing out of order. Imagine what a chaos otherwise. No.
So if there's a person that's maybe watching and maybe they're on antidepressants and they feel like they want to be a good person, they want to, give good experiences to people, but they also feel that they're broken or something is wrong with them. What steps do they need to take?
So first of all, benzodiazepines. I had the 3-4 years when I was in my teenager, and many people know my life experience. It was very bumpy. Benzodiazepine, they shut the body down. What does it mean? They make you numb. So the first help that I can give to these people, which I'm giving to my little self, is I make my body feel again. So I stop going through the mind, stop numbing the body, but going back into the body and feel the body, okay? Because the spirit incarnates into the body to experience itself. So going away from the body is a disservice that I'm doing to myself. So first of all is I'm going back to feel. When you said, Igor, if we are a good person, everybody is a good person, every child is a good child. And even parents, they were good when they were children. So children are good. What changed between children and adults? Burdens. They start to burden themselves with the disorder in the system, and their life get into disorder as well. So what we need to do is to bring in back those joyful, delightful, and carefree children that are not burdened by the unresolved in their system. Once we are able to bring back those children and who they really were at the time when they were born and they grew up and 4, 5, 6, and then their parents separate and the crash and the and the horrible experience started.
Mm.
We need to go back to that, give back to our parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents the duty that are not ours to carry, so we can be free and we can experience life again as a joyful, brightful, and abundant experience. Life is good.
Yeah. I really feel that you're of service. And, you know,
Thank you.
like, is it easy for people to almost idolize you?
Well, you perceive my father in me, Igor. Let me say that again. It's never about me. You perceive my father in me. Because I'm extremely close to my father, I perceive a lot of value, and you perceive my value. Your father is your value as a man, but even as a woman. I will explain how. When you go out of the door, your mother stands behind on the couch and observe your father leading you out of the door. It is your father who sends you out of the door with your value. Your mother has already many other important duties to do. It's your father who sends you out of the world with your value. The closer you are to your father and the closer you are to your personal value, and people perceive that. So you perceive in me my father within. At the same time, you tend to idolize me because you idolize that part of yourself, which is me. So you see yourself in me. It's nothing about me. It's actually you see yourself, Igor, in me.
Interesting.
And I go along with you when you are acknowledging me because I feel myself in you.
Yeah.
So it's you pushing certain button in me and I'm pushing certain button in you.
Yeah.
Again, this is a service we are doing to each other.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Because when I was listening to you, I felt it like I can trust him. I felt it like I can trust him. I can expose myself to him and I trust it.
Again, Igor, you trust me the same, you relate to me because of my father within. Trust towards life and trust towards other people, look towards the mother. So when we are distrustful, Igor, towards life, people are tricking me, I need to pay attention, I can't expose myself because we don't fully trust our mother. Our mother represents life. When come to my event and we leave the informed consent on the chairs, people that are agree to be filmed or perhaps taking some shot by the side, and people do not. People do not, they are distrustful generally towards their mother, towards life, because they don't trust me, of course. If they don't trust their mother, imagine me. So it's all about that. Between you and I is always related to the father, okay? The closer you see me to, you perceive me from my father, and the closer you perceive like, oh, this guy is a man of value, is a man of purpose. We are all people of purpose, brother. We are all people of purpose. Some people serve ice cream and they give energy out of ice cream. Some other people give energy out of healing. It's the same service in a different level of density. One is a more dense experience, the other one is more light, full experience through energy.
Yeah. I sense strength in you. Like when you were talking, I sense strength. Nice. So one more thing. I recently was in Italy a couple times, in Rome.
Lovely.
And I was in Italy and arrived, and then all my documents, my phone, everything was gone. So I have nothing. So I had a friend, a woman, an Italian woman who's there, who I had met. And yeah, there was something more or less between us. So I called her up from a shop. I was like, hey, can you help me? Yada, yada, yada. And she's like, sure, of course, I'll help you. You can stay with me, this and that. And so we meet each other in the evening. She comes in and she's like, what is this? Like, what are you talking? What is this? Why are you really here? And then she started to explain to me, well, she was coming to me. She got an image that if she let me sleep in her place, I would at night get up and kill her. And she's like, why do I have that image? Why do I have that image? And she was really afraid. And I started to realize she's not gonna fucking help me. So I felt all these like conflicting. I was like, really? And I was again confronted like with abandonment, and there's like different feelings. And then after some hours, she was like in between. All of a sudden, she stand up, and the security was like looking at us, and they're like, "What's going on there? Do you know her? Whatever." She's like looking, and I'm like, "Are you gonna abandon me?" She's like, "I'm gonna abandon you." She goes away, and I'm looking at her going away, and I realized that like, fuck, like, and I realized that I had some feelings that were brought up, and I was living through it that night, sleeping on the street, finding the thing, doing things on my own. And I was like, I fully release her. And I felt it. I'm not mad at her because she had a trauma response. So I cannot be mad at her. I don't blame her. But somehow I had like this thing, like, why did I have to go through that experience?
This experience talk about the father of your mother. I'm gonna explain in details why. You know the story of the boogeyman,
No?
the black man, you know, people that they say, oh, I have my house that is ghosted. There are ghosts. There is the boogeyman and this and that. So they see those demons. The demons is always reflecting to the father, because we come from an era that mothers have had horrible experience with men. So as children, we reflect the boogeyman, the black man, as the father. So when people have this experience, oh, somebody's gonna kill me and this and that, I always ask to them, what happened with your father? So they feel they are hunted, okay? So it's always something about the father. Although, in your experience, it's talking about household and personal belonging. Your household is your mother. She's your protector, your nurturing. When you are born inside your mother. So you are literally built up inside your mother. And your mother was built up inside your great-grandmother, grandmother, and on and on. So everything that is about being on the street without the house, it's about your mother. And then there are many other systemic implications. I don't take you, otherwise we talk.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have experienced absence of the household for that night and abandonment, that is an unresolved with your mother. And the fact that your mother, which was represented by that lady, that beautiful Italian lady, she feels she was hunted is because your mother felt unsafe with her father, or there's some sort of interruption through the masculine lineage. So if I want to bring a resolution to you, I will do a movement, first of all, to look at your mother herself, and then I go behind her and I see her father and what happened to her father too. So there is a systemic map of what has happened to you. Why it has happened to you, I'm giving you an answer. Because you live in a loop of memory, Igor. You are repeating pattern that has happened already in your system of belonging, or in the system of belonging of the person you are involved with. So you are keep repeating this loop of memory, particularly when the situation is unresolved. Why? Because love submit to conscience, to order. So love seek completion, seek to bring reunion to what is unresolved. For 3-4 generations generally, but it goes as far as 6-7 when it's a dynamic that has brought a major shift in the life experience of the individual. So you're repeating a memory, and we can obviously look at it together. You can look in a constellation, but it seems to me that has brought some awareness within you already.
Is it possible to avoid dynamics or repeating things, or do we have to sometimes go through things to become aware that it's coming from there, and then have the tools like family constellations, and then actually go into the work so they may be resolved, and then until the next thing presents itself?
So what we are reflecting here is what we call entanglements. We are entangled in somebody else's destiny. Entanglements are not demonic as people think they are. Even knowledgeable observer, they speak about entanglement as demonic. The entanglement try to bring resolution. So the entanglement bring resolution by elevating awareness. So the person becomes more conscious, more aware. So knowledge are increasing in the field of the person. So they grow through the entanglement. Sometimes the entanglement cannot find their resolution because the two systems of belonging are in oppositions. So the same thing is for you, like we can resolve when we become aware. By becoming aware, we elevate ourselves. So the entanglement is positive because it allows you to change your conscience, okay, and elevate your conscience. What is conscience? Is knowledge. Conscience is knowledge. My conscience can be as big as this because I can tap in this much amount of knowledge. But my conscience can be as small as this because I can tap into this small amount of knowledge. Conscience is knowledge.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pleasure, brother.
Can I ask you, what is your background and like what stages of development did you go through to get here?
So my background is extreme and bumpy. Extreme and bumpy means that my life started to become an extremity when my parents split in a very disaster divorce. My father became extremely violent towards my mom. My mom, she left him for another man. My father became very violent, spitting on us, doing any kind of horrible experience for children. Then, without a leading figure, I was led obviously by the role model of the area, and my area is known for criminality. So I became, I've been imprinted, let's say, by my best mates and criminals around me, and I became one of them in order to seek what they were seeking, love. In my area, if you kill, if you punch, if you stab somebody, you are respected, and respect equal to love. So I started to do exactly what my mates they were doing. Eventually, what kept me different from them is kickboxing. I became a professional kickboxing very early in life. I went through a lot of roller coaster and house arrest, jail, major amount of debts, depression. I made a girl pregnant very early in life, and we went through obviously an abortion. I had a dangerous name in my area. Nobody wanted their daughter to be with me because I was in jail very early in life and in therapy very early when I was just 18. Eventually, I had another major experience when I was 24. I had a fight with somebody, and I wanted to organize a murder to this person with my other mates, and it didn't happen, luckily. And so I was led to Australia, and Australia put me back to who I was, a very loving child who was wanted to give love, and when he tried to give love, he was rejected and turned their back on him. So he started to become hateful and angry, and he turned love that couldn't make into anger. So eventually in Australia, I had another beautiful, powerful experience, which led me to become who I am today. I started to become a well-known personal trainer. I fought again as what was the only things that I was able to do. Like I knew what to do, like as a professional kickboxer, and became a very well-known personal trainer, started to make some good money, and my dream came true. And eventually in 2019, well, a little earlier, I discovered Family Constellation, which they changed my life at the time because I was in a financial debt, very major financial debt, more than 100,000 euro with my company at the time. So I discovered Family Constellation and I fall in love with it. And I started to acknowledge that I was gifted, and I was really gifted and intuitive, and I was meant to do this. I was meant to serve, and this is my biggest call, and I'm aiming to bring this to worldwide eyes, Netflix movie about this and many more. And I promise everybody that I will leave my name imprinted on this planet for 1,000 years, and in honor to my ancestors. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm of service.
Woo!
Without a doubt, brother.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Woo,
Pleasure.
woo.
Pleasure.
No, thank you. Can I ask you, where did you train Family Constellations?
I did not train Family Constellation. I embodied. That's very important for me to say. When you train, I read the Family Constellation. When I embody, I make it a morphogenetic imprinting within me. So there are There are several persons that they inspire me in the work I do. Definitely one is obviously the developer, which is Bert Hellinger, and I have obviously read and many of his books of his saying. I obviously attended many online workshops that they were led by his direct student. Another person who has inspired me the most is an Italian observer, family constellator called Gabriele Policardo. He was the one that I was aiming to when I started, because it was resonating a lot with me. The same things that I do with others. A lot of people say, I'm inspired by you. Same things for me by him. I attended workshop for thousands and thousands of hours, still as today, from a lot of facilitators worldwide. Not even further from this weekend, I was attending an online workshop from Susie Tucker, who is a direct student of Bert Hellinger. So I'm constantly learning in knowledge. However, to become a great family constellator, a great observer, you simply need three things. You need to understand the difference between thoughts, emotions, and inner guidance. Thoughts are the language of the mind. Emotions are the language of the body. Inner guidance is the language spoken by the soul. When you are able to enter the field and differentiate those three tools of observation, the better you are able to acknowledge those three tools and differentiate them, and the better observer you are. And I consider myself, in what I do, I consider myself the one who will make the difference, the one who makes the difference. I feel I don't feel second to anybody in what I do. I'm really confident in what I do, in the way I do. And that's why I'm here to make a difference. I know I have the tools to make a difference, and I submit to my tools. I am extremely humble to observe what is. So what is given to me, even an harsh response, I pursue an harsh response, because I know that that harsh response, which is given by my soul to share to somebody, will generate something in that somebody. So I'm very humble in acknowledging this.
Thank you. So you did not follow a formal facilitator training with anyone?
No. And I don't believe in that.
Okay. So if I understand correctly, you did a lot of self-study and attending a lot of thousands of hours of workshops by yourself, and then you decided yourself, you felt the inner guidance, if I can say it like that, to step into that role, where you felt the calling to go towards it.
I didn't find my purpose. My purpose found me.
Okay.
I didn't find Family Constellation. Family Constellation is the tool that I ride to share the value of my father. My role model is my father. He teaches me who I am. He tells me who I am, nobody else. He teaches me who I am. I take some tools from different observers, because that's what I need to embody in order to become the best version of myself, although the value are given by my father. It's my father who tells me who I am, nobody else. And I acknowledge other facilitators that they give me obviously tools that I miss perhaps from my father lineage, or what we need to become the best version of myself, what the field wants me to be. Although my value comes from my father and nobody else. And anybody value come from their father. It's their father who tells them who they are.
What is the difference between you and your father?
My mother. My father comes from a lineage where there is not my mother involved. So what makes me is also my mother. The value of my father are experienced through the body, who is my mother. So my mother makes the difference between me and my father. But my father is better than me. And he will always be. Why? Because he's hierarchically bigger. So without him, there could not be me. So by hierarchical order, he will always be better than me. No chances. People are in the delusional state to state, my mom is better than, I'm better than my mother, and I'm better than my father. You can believe so, but what you are saying is the part of my mother who is me is not valuable. The part of my father who is me is not valuable. But I state loud voice that the part of me who is my father is very valuable, as well as the part of me who is my mother is very valuable. So I take the value from them and I pursue it forward and make it bigger, but only through them. It's by them. I'm led by them.
One more thing about the guidance, the inner guidance. Is it correct to say that you felt the inner guidance to step into the role, or did you feel like the role, or there was a calling you towards that?
I was pulled there, and I am extremely loyal to my feeling. But I didn't find Family Constellation. Family Constellation found me.
Yeah.
I could pursue my father's value by selling ice cream.
Okay.
My father sells newspapers since 35, 40 years. People go there to buy the newspaper, but what they actually buy from him is his capability to listen. He's extremely compassionate, he's extremely empathetic. My father loves to listen to women, and he helps them in giving them advice, and I do exactly the same. I just pursue what I'm doing in a less dense experience, because my father was living another period of time where the energy was more into a dense matter experience. Now we are more lightful since 2020 the vibration are rising day by day. The time is quicker, so now I pursue the same healing as my father through energy, family constellation, but no any difference. My father is the master healer, I am just a little one.
I wonder if you go and spend time with your parents at home and you see that one of your parents or both are in pain, or they are in some patterns and there is some unconsciousness. Do you actively help them, or how are you with that, if that happens?
Absolutely not. The less I give back to my parents, and the more I maintain them in their destiny and dignity. And the more I acknowledge their destiny and dignity, the bigger I make myself. If I start to give back to them, I make them smaller, and I make myself smaller even more. I make myself weaker. I'm going to share one more concept, if you allow me, Igor. Then I'm almost on my way to work a bit this morning. Children that they don't take from their parents, they don't feel the call to leave the household. They still attach to it. Why? Because the more they take from their parents, and the more guilt start to rise in them when they grow adult, so they feel to go and be independent, to leave the household and to become themselves. The less they take from their parents, and the less guilt is rising within them, so they feel still attached because they're happy to keep taking little and bits in their household. So the more they take, the more they want to let go, leave the household and be independent, be themselves.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope we could do some more talks in the future, because I would love to ask you some more questions. I really love your presence, love your energy, and I'm extremely grateful for everything you share. So thank you.
Brother, thank you for having me, and we'll definitely have some time in the future. And thank you for allowing me to share my purpose today. Much love to you.
Thank you.